being a very dear friend of mine, Angelina is the Director of Unique Business Advantage. She has worked with hundreds of business owners in Australia to define their niche, package up their intellectual property, determine a target market, and carve out a business that suits their needs. As a teen, Angelina worked in 2 family-owned businesses before her 20s and spent 17 years working as a leader in corporate and retail industries. Angelina is a highly accredited and certified coach and practitioner and has spoken in rooms around the world to people just like you. Today she's going to open your eyes and give you an even greater clarity on how to identify your niche and communicate with them on a deeper level. So if you wouldn't mind, would you please be upstanding and welcome Angelina Cirelli Salomone.
Good job. Well done. Well done. I think Steve's probably the only person that's ever pronounced my surname correctly. So good effort. Can we please also congratulate him on the amazing speakers that he's brought together. Well done. Well done. Why wouldn't I drive from Melbourne to Sydney or to Wollongong to serve you and your people, Steve? It was an absolute treat. And I have to say how excited I was about coming to the gateway of the South, because typically people say, oh, you're from the South when I go to Sydney. And I thought, the gateway to the South, what does that mean? And I got here and I thought, wow, it's beautiful. We had this amazing 10-hour drive yesterday because we couldn't help ourselves. We stopped the whole way. And we stopped and we decided, I said, oh, honey, we'll turn off the highway and go down the Illawarra Highway. I said, it looks fantastic. Now, thank God I wasn't driving is all I can say, because I was bloody well holding on like this. And Tony had a smile from one side of his face to the other. And I said, you're having a good time, aren't you? And he goes, oh, I love it. So we've loved being here, and unfortunately, even though the weather probably hasn't been as nice as it is in Melbourne for a change, we're very excited to be here, I have to say. But I've got one question. Do the local people call it the gong? It is the gong. Because when I was excited about coming up to the northern beaches of Wollongong, I looked it up and it said the gong. Oh, is that just a touristy thing? So I can actually go back now and say to people, I was hanging out at the gong. I'm pretty impressed with that. So as Steve said, I've worked with a lot of business owners and had the joy of helping them really define what it is that they do. And I know there's a mix of people in the room, is that right? How many of you have been in business for quite some time, say 5, 10 years plus? Quite a few. How many have been in business under 5 years? A few. And who's got no idea about business and thought this would be fun just to come along? No? Fantastic. So you're all in the right room, which is a good thing to start with. So I think what's important over the next hour that we've got together is to consider not only if you're fairly new to business, but also if you've been in business for quite some time, how you can start to innovate. We've had already such amazing insight from the speakers before me, and what I'll talk about will really complement, especially what Steve was talking about, and definitely Fiona. So we'll all complement in each other's presentations. And along the way, I am going to ask you questions. Is that going to be okay?
Yes.
More importantly, you'll have to do stuff. Is that okay? And yet, I probably will get you up out of your seats because it's lunchtime and everyone's just had lunch and feeling a little bit like comfortable with this snoozy weather we've got. So do I have permission to get people up out of their seats and doing stuff on your business? So yes, I am one of those highly motivated speakers that makes you do stuff in the room, because like Fiona mentioned, when you leave this room, many of you will go back to some of your practices just because that's human nature. And I understand that, which is why it's really critical for you to start to embed a lot of what you're going to be learning in my session, and most importantly in Steve's session at the end of the day. So that's cool? Yes? Can we have a hell yeah?
Hell yeah!
Hell yeah, fantastic. So defining your niche, we're going to unpack what that means. We're going to give you the 9 secrets to unpacking your niche, and then we're also going to give you some ideas on how to potentially look at innovating some of the things that you love to do in your business and get paid for them. Who'd like a little bit of that? Yes, that might be fun. So I might start with one of the things that I like to do, and Tony and I have been camping for years, I would say. Probably we got introduced to camping through friends who've got caravans, and we just weren't the caravan type. We're probably about 40 years younger than what most caravan owners are anyway, but we kind of went, oh, and they're our age. That's generalising, because they're our age. The friends that bought caravans, they were in their 30s at the time. And we just went, oh, no, I don't know, caravans aren't for us. So we've been camping in a tent quite comfortably for about 6 or 7 years, I think. Then we went to a caravan camping show. Don't ever do that, because you'll end up signing away the last year's profits. But what will happen is you will end up doing what you love and spending a lot more time doing what you love. And I promised I'd put a photo of this in there, mainly for my accountant, because we do quite a lot of business now that results in getaways. And in fact, we picked this up in Brisbane. Who is a caravan or camper at all? About half the room. How did I not know about this part of Australia before, is all I can say. You've got some amazing places, so we'll definitely be coming back here, I know, spending some time in our trailer. But the reason I share that story with you is because it wasn't until we unpacked this for the very first time, we didn't even get a chance to put the awnings out before we had people coming over and doing a bit of this. I thought, is that normal? Do people normally do that when you're in a camping trailer park? I don't know, it was new to me. And we were off doing our thing, trying to work out how to put the pegs in and trying to work out what goes where, and more people coming along. And, you know, it wasn't just the casual stroll past, it was really looking at what's going on here. And finally Tony said to someone, "Oh, how are you, mate?" He goes, "Oh, I love your trailer." And I thought, oh, is that what this is about? And for the rest of the 3 days, we didn't even get to pack the thing out properly because we spent the whole time talking about the struts and the frickin' whatever it's got everything about the solar system and the hot water flick mix, and about the fact that you can go off-road for like 10 days and we've got a generator. And before I knew it, I suddenly became this expert in off-road camping. And I thought, oh my God, you even niche in a caravan park. And I just couldn't believe it. And so on this trip, the more I was thinking about niching, the more I thought, wow, these guys have got it down pat. They only eat gum leaves. If ever there was an animal that could niche more than a koala, I would love to meet it. Now, it could be a risk, right? What happens if there's no gum leaves around? However, how easy is it to keep a koala happy? Just give it some gum leaves. Now, I'm not suggesting that your clients or customers or prospects should be as cute and cuddly as a koala, because most of us know that at night time they're not, yeah? But what I am suggesting is if you can find what the gum leaf is for your customer, you're going to have a very cute and cuddly customer for the rest of your business life. Does that sound pretty good? Yeah? Excellent. So on this holiday, of course, what else would I be doing but visiting a chocolateria? Not a chocolate shop, it's a chocolateria. I was going to go just because of the name. We went, and this wall, I kid you not, would have been the size of that wall and the size of those windows put together. Now, if you're not a chocolate lover, that's still pretty impressive, wouldn't you agree? Massive sign on the wall that says chocolate wall. I just wanted to stare at it all day. And on that menu, it had every single possible chocolate you could think of. Now, I was a bit bewildered. I kind of sat there and went, gee, I don't know. Are they niching or not? And I thought about it again. I went round the corner and there was more chocolate products. I thought, maybe. And then Tony and I were having a debate and he goes, but it's only chocolate. And I thought, good point. But they differentiated themselves so much that they know that within chocolate there's a niche within a niche. Because there isn't just one type of chocolate, is there? So you go to the counter and you get to choose which chocolate you like. Do you want the white chocolate? Do you want the milk chocolate, or do you want the dark chocolate? And guess what? Whichever one you want, we make that product in all three. I was in heaven. And not even because I'm a chocolate lover, because as a business owner appreciating niche and innovation, oh, this place was like heaven. They'd been open for 6 weeks. The place was packed. And we walked out with $75 worth of chocolate that I could never ever eat, but was going to have to give off to people because it's just not good for you. But my point being that if you can find that point of difference, that if you can find what it is that makes your business tick and go really deep in that niche, you'll have customers out the door. Who thinks at the moment they've got the niche thing happening pretty well? Yeah? Couple of people. Good hand up the back to see. Fantastic. Who's been innovating that for a while? Of those people that think that niche is, yeah? So it didn't happen just overnight for you guys? No, really? I was hoping you might be my first person. So it's taken a little while. Do you mind me asking how long?
5 years.
5 years to feel like it's working?
Yeah, to really start getting traction. Probably the last year we've been the most successful.
Beautiful. And so along the way, what's happened?
Where we started out is where we had this vision.
Yes.
And it's not where we actually ended up.
Yes.
And where we are now is still not where we're going to end up. We have to keep evolving.
Yeah. And what was your name, sorry?
Sandy.
Sandy. Did everyone hear what Sandy said?
Yes.
Yeah? Just repeat that last bit about vision one more time.
Oh,
A bit louder.
no. That's off the cuff. We had vision and we had an expectation of what we perceived the marketplace needed.
Yep.
And as we travelled, we had to hone what our perception was to the reality of what they needed,
Yep.
relevance.
Yeah.
So we have to keep evolving to keep filling that marketplace with what they need to be relevant.
Absolutely. Innovate or die. Who's heard that before?
Yeah.
Damn it, because you just think you get the recipe right and then you realise you've got to change it again. Yeah? Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. It's so true. And I think I've worked with quite a lot of young businesses who people are starting their business for the first time. So my background was corporate. And like many people in corporate, we leave and we think, oh, we can do it better. And so we leave, and then about 2 years later, what happens is we go, it's probably a little bit harder than we thought. Anyone else had that experience? Yes, a few people nodding. And regardless in business, even if you've got the recipe of success, as you're getting from Steve's program, you have to apply it to your business. And sometimes you're going to have to make tweaks along the way. Sometimes you're going to have to take a step forward before you can take a step back before you can take 3 forward. And I think it's really important with niche to decide that, hey, yes, I need to innovate, but more importantly, I've got to be prepared along the way to make a few little tweaks. So are we prepared to make a few little tweaks if we need to?
Yes.
Yes? Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Oh, separate holiday. We've been travelling a lot the last 3 months, but we just cried. I couldn't help myself. I don't know if you can see that says Queenscliff Dental. I couldn't believe my luck that I would come across a niche experience that would have the chocolate room next to a dental. And this would be a perfect joint venture, wouldn't you agree? Perfect partnership.
Same owners?
No, different owners, perfect part. And by chance, we were on we'd popped into the chocolate room, grabbed a couple of, anyway, we were enjoying ourselves. And we crossed the road and looked back. It was just by chance Tony cracked up laughing, and I thought, what's so funny? And he goes, look at the place next door. Now, when you got your radar on, when your articular activating system is in a particular area, but mine being niche, you see the examples all the time. But I just couldn't believe this in Queenscliff in Victoria. Now, no doubt the dentist does very well on his own anyway, but it was just too funny and I had to include it. So there you go. So this, I'm sure, is neither of you or any of you because you're in this room. However, many business owners that I speak to and work with come to me looking a little bit like this. And that's because they're going through teething problems. They're going through a lot of pain and they're wanting to run in their business before they realise that they actually have to crawl. Now, many of you would be well past the crawling stages. In fact, you're walking and probably many of you are running. What we need to remember, though, is that along the way, there are many people that are going to encourage you to do that. And you need to embrace those people when you can. And that's why I'm really excited for Steve that he's put this together for Wollongong, because it allows you all to feed off yourselves and each other and start to grow this community like it's never before, which is just super exciting. Because this typically is what most business owners are going through. Many of you more than likely experienced this for the first 5 years of your business anyway. And I'm sure there's times where we still get to have a bit of a tanty because things didn't quite work out. Yes? Occasionally have one of those or not. I know I see quite a lot of them, I have to say. But we don't want you to have one of those, and that's why we want you to really refine at the end of this session what area of your business you need to work on. So as I was saying, everything is about evolution, regardless of where you are in your business, and we started that out perfectly by saying it is about evolution. Your business today is not what it looked like a year ago, and it is not going to be where your business is in 12 months. However, you can still plan for where you'd like it to be. Just know that along the way there's going to be quite a few little bumps, few little corners that you don't expect, a little bit like the Illawarra Highway. But just around that corner that you thought was about to kill you is the most beautiful fern you've ever seen. Yeah? So stick with it. And remember, niching isn't just for the beginning of your business, it's throughout your business. And it's really important that at least every 6 to 12 months, you take stock and have a look at where your business is going. So I want you to keep that in the back of your mind as we step through each of these points. Now, there's two areas of niching. There's your business niche, and obviously there's going to be your market niche. Now, Steve was talking very well earlier about the unmet needs, or he was talking about needs and wants. Do you recall that? Who can share with me what he was saying? What were some of the key things around needs and wants?
What the marketplace wants.
Yes?
That's what we're supposed to perceive. Where he's saying most people normally dictate what they think they need,
Yes.
rather than what they want.
And what do you think sells, a want or a need?
What want.
A want, every single time. However, as business owners, what do we think? We know what they need. We're going to shove it in their mouth if they want it or not. Yeah? And so what happens as a result is, unfortunately, they don't buy, times get tough, or we're trying to look at ways that we can innovate. So the key to really niching is absolutely understanding what your customers want. Yes? We would all want the $200 bottle of wine, or not if you're not a wine drinker. But do you really need a $200 bottle of wine? We could debate that tonight at the bar maybe. But absolutely want is what's going to sell every single time. You need to give them what they want, but you need to make sure that you're absolutely also giving them everything you know they need. Yeah? Absolutely. So there's 9 keys. I'm going to go through each of the keys and we're going to discuss them. But the very, very first one I want you to talk about is how to find the problem that you actually solve. Now, I know we've got a range of different businesses. We were chatting with Heidi in the break, and Heidi's got mineral makeup. I know there's some builders in here. What other types of businesses do we have? There's a soccer man, did he call you?
Yeah, preschools and primary schools soccer program.
Is your business called Soccer Man?
Soccer Man.
Cool, okay, that's very cool. Soccer Man. Anything else? What have we got?
I'm an image consultant. My business is Draft Fab.
Beautiful. And sitting, of course, next to the mineral makeup person.
The Skin Revival.
And the skin revival person. Well, what were we saying earlier? Everyone you need is in the room. I think that's awesome. Quantum working over here in the corner. So stylist and skin. Beautiful. What other types of businesses do we have?
Freelance selling.
Freelance selling?
Yeah.
Wow. That's very broad. What do you sell?
Anything. You got something to sell? I'll sell it for you. Or you should pay me.
You will sell anything I have
Yes.
for a fee.
For a fee.
One of the best, eh? One of the best.
Wow. Is that what your business card says? I will sell whatever you have?
My business card says TDSE.
Doesn't tell me what you do.
Ah,
That's right, so
interesting.
you gotta ask.
I like it. Thank you for sharing. That's a very, very broad but interesting niche. I like it. I like it. What other problems do we solve in the room? What other problems?
E-business and marketing.
E-business and marketing. Fantastic. What else do we have? What's up the back on this table? Do you have your own businesses?
I work for council. I'm a strategic planner.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. What
I'm a
else?
music teacher,
Music
teaching
teacher.
one-to-one.
Fantastic. So, if someone were to ask you what your business is, you would typically just tell me the things that you've said. Is that fair to say? If someone was to ask you what particular problem you solve, would you still tell me the same thing? No. So what would you tell me? So I'd love for you to spend at least 2 minutes jotting down right now the number one problem you solve in your business. What is it? Once you've done that, take a look at it and be really honest with yourself about whether or not that's what you tell people when you meet them. You might need to refine that ever so slightly just for another minute. And then turn to the person next to you and share what the number one problem is that you solve. Not what you do, what you solve. But I want to keep you on track as well. How did we go?
Well, we all come up with the same answer.
Tell me, what was the theme at your table?
Space.
You solve the problem of
Space.
space. So there's builders over here.
We're all living in space, right?
You're all builders, or all in the building industry.
No, that's that way, yeah.
Okay, so space. Interesting. What do we think? Do they solve the problem of space?
Make use of the space.
So if I'm a client or a prospective client, and I'm coming to you,
If you don't have enough space, we can give you more.
if I don't have enough space, you can give me more. If I've got too much space, you can help me fill it.
Yeah, you could do that.
Am I filling space, or do I want to create a home? Everyone else is creating a home, so how are you different? I can hear some wheels turning, some blank looks.
Well, they don't build homes, actually, they're
Yeah.
they renovate.
You renovate home. Is everyone except for yourself?
And we don't do new homes.
So they're all existing homes?
We create space.
So you recreate my current home into what I want it to be, and you utilise the space so that I get the best.
Well, I've probably misinterpreted your question.
Yeah.
Just give it a one-word answer.
Space. Well, it is if you're renovating, because I'm already in a home. Cool. So is that your catchphrase when someone new comes to you? That's your salesman? Speak to the salesman.
Oh, we've got there are two catchphrases there. One of it, if your house is too small, give Smith and Sons a call.
If you want us to just slow that right down.
If your house is too small, give Smith and Sons a call.
Oh, now how good did it sound the second time he said it?
Yeah. And
Yes?
don't detonate, renovate.
Beautiful. Great. And it's working? It's working? They're fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What do we think? Yeah, absolutely. Give him, so we need to give him a bit of love, so just give him some love. Fantastic. So that was all through individual conversations, but you all came together as a group and said space.
I don't know if we're actually, but we're franchise.
Gotcha.
Individual franchise.
Yep.
So we're all for different.
Oh, how good is that? You're all on the same page.
Yeah. Except for the land.
Yes. So was yours, what was yours? So a little bit louder so we can all hear you. What was your name, sorry? Daniel.
Yes, I make clients' backyards into their dream designs.
So did everyone over here hear what Daniel just said? Yes, at the back? What did Daniel say? He makes clients' backyards into their dream designs. How's that working for you? Yeah, yeah. So when I walk out, do I know what my dream design is before I come to meet you? And then you'll come up with a concept, then come back to me. We'll have a little bit of chat, you'll tweak it, and then voila, I've got my resort backyard.
No, give you a design.
Yep.
And then if you like the design, you go from there and build it.
Fantastic. Okay, so you do a lot of the legwork though?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, fantastic. Good. Thank you for sharing. Give Daniel some love. Awesome. Thank you. What else do we got? Yes, please.
My name's Nikki.
Nikki.
I'm a holistic weight management consultant,
Excellent.
and the problem I solve is helping people who want to get off the diet roundabout with achievable and sustainable ways to change their lifestyle from a holistic perspective.
Fantastic. So your point of difference is you do it holistically.
Yes, and successfully. It's not a blanket program.
Fantastic. So define holistic for me.
A holistic is looking at the body as a whole.
Okay.
So not only are we talking about what people eat, but it's how their body digests food, what state their mental and their physical being is presently in.
Beautiful. So mind, body, soul, connecting the whole lot.
Yes.
You know, it was Nikki.
Nikki, yes.
So is problem being weight or is problem being something else?
Well, it would vary per individual,
Yeah.
but essentially it starts with people wanting to lose weight
Yes.
and wanting a weight loss program that's going to be successful.
Yeah.
Whereas then I teach them that it's about them holistically. It's not just about them, killing themselves at the gym, deprivation or calorie counting.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
So it's
fact, that doesn't
self-image.
work.
It's actually self-image.
Yes.
Yeah. Weight's not the problem.
No.
Yeah. Weight, there's a massive market as we all know. Yeah, weight loss. Weight isn't actually your point of difference, it's self-image, and doing it holistically is your point of difference, which is beautiful, especially with where we're going organically and holistically these days. So that's fantastic. But just know it's not weight.
Okay.
So weight's only the outcome. Something's happened before in order for them to put the weight on. Yeah, so it's going to be around their self-image. Yeah, fantastic, awesome. Thank you. Give Nikki some love. Awesome. Anyone got a question? Did anyone get a little bit stuck? We had a conversation with Denise about music, and she said, well, not really sure what mine is. Would you like to share, Denise?
I'm still getting my head around.
I love it.
It's more, well, it is teaching music appreciation, teaching, my battle is children these days prefer the gadgets, the eye technology, and why should I learn music? Unless they're already keen. I teach lots of, say, the girls who want to sing and play keyboard at the same time, so that's already there. But what about appealing to those who may not have considered it yet for their child?
Yeah. And we were talking about the big difference between the games that they're playing are very much around children using their head. You know, kids are amazing at how quick they can pick the games up. Have you watched them? They're amazing at how quick they know all the tricks. But music is about heart. Music is about emotion and feeling. And you know yourself when you're listening to beautiful music, how you feel if it's just one of your pop songs, you know, whether or not you're going to the orchestra or whether you're listening to an opera, how you feel. So we were talking about, Denise, about connecting children into that emotional experience with music as opposed to saying I'm purely a music teacher, because you're so much more than that. Yeah. And parents who feel that they are responsible for creating individuals who are well-rounded will understand that. You know, and music is a beautiful alternative to playing games. I'm sure that there's a place in society and for developing our young, but music has always been and will always be part of our lives. So it's a fantastic privilege that you have to be able to do that for our children. So I think you should really blossom that, much more than a music teacher. Thank you. So give Denise some love. Awesome. So if that exercise was a tad difficult, if for you you're kind of going, oh, I don't know, I'm scratching my head a little bit, I'm really not clear on the problem I solve, the best way to answer this question is ask your clients the reason they came to you. Who does that already? Fantastic. Not enough hands in the room. Every single one of you should capture that information, either when they're becoming a prospect, when they first engage with you, or when they become a client. Please write down one of your must-dos is collect information about the reason they came to me. Because I guarantee for the majority of you, it'll be very different to the reason you thought they came to you. And that's going to start to help you define the needs and wants. Questions on that? Good? Fantastic. So that just talks about listening to your market. Now, target market, and Fiona did a fantastic job on already talking about many of the steps that you need to understand in relation to uncovering your target market. With niching, of course, it's extremely important that you understand who your avatar is. Now, avatar is an industry term that simply means your ideal client. Now, I know for some businesses in the early days, when I say to them, you're only going to work with your ideal client, they look at me like I'm from Mars. Now, I'm not, I can assure you. However, who would want to work with their ideal client and only their ideal client all the time? Your perfect client who pays you on time, who raves about your services, who loves what you do and goes and tells and sneezes about it to everybody else. Wouldn't we just want a truckload of them? Hell yes. In the early days, often in business, we are really looking at cash flow. We always are in business. But in the early days, you're so desperate around cash flow that you'll work with everybody. And I do suggest that if you're really looking at the dollars in the early sort of 6 to 12 months, that's what you need to be doing, working with as many people as possible to understand what your niche is. But wouldn't you like to be able to create that much earlier than spend 12 or 18 months trying to work it out the hard way? So the best thing is create your ideal client. Now, I know we're not in a room right now where I'm saying, who's your ideal partner? It sounds a little bit like dating anonymous, but it works. You're all familiar with the reticular activating system, yes? Part of your brain, at the back of your brain, a small little shape that once you tell it what to look for, will find it all the time. So it's the thing that when you suddenly buy a new car, you think, really, are there that many of them around? Well, they've always been, you just didn't notice before because it wasn't locked in your memory bank. So in order for you to attract your ideal client, you need to be clear on who your ideal client is. The only way to get clear on your ideal client is to sit down and document as we were saying earlier in Fiona's session, what your target market is, very similar to who your ideal client is. Your target market will be made up of your ideal client, but much broader, if that makes sense. Yes? So one of the top things that I would recommend, your must-dos, if you haven't already got a list, it must be a list, and I'm talking an A4 page that says, this is my ideal client, this is their name, this is how old they are, this is where they work, this is how they interact with me, this is what they wear, this is where they go, these are the hobbies. Then we tie into all of the questions that were on Fiona's slide. Exactly the same thing. Then what do you think you would do with that list? Stick it up on your wall? Absolutely. Where else would it go? Who has employees in this room? Yes? A handful of you? You would have immediately sit down and have a meeting with your employees. This is who I think our ideal client is. What do you think our ideal client is? And then you sit down, you collaborate, because your staff would also have examples of who the ideal client is. Now, if you're not in the front line, as many of you probably aren't, unless you're the salesperson or unless you're the person doing the marketing, you may not be as close to your ideal client. So you need to make sure you engage everybody in your business in this activity, because you're going to get different facets. And this is where I said in business, you don't just agree that that's who my ideal client is today, because guess what? In 12 months' time, they've changed. And this is one of the main factors of businesses really struggling in that 2 to 5 year gap, is that they don't innovate. They don't realise that who my client was is no longer who my client is today. Is that making sense? Really important process. So in your 90-day plan, if you haven't got your ideal client nutted out, it must go in there before you do anything else. Reason being is your marketing revolves around it. The products you create revolve around it. The conversations you and your staff have will revolve around it. You should only be talking about your ideal client. As an example, both Steve and I have trained at the Coaching Institute in South Melbourne, and I had the privilege of working there for 12 months as a project manager on Sharon's mastermind program. And Sharon has multiple avatars in her business, but she is so specific that she has marketing targeted to each and every one of those avatars. And if you work in this department, you're very clear on who it is you target. If you work in this department, you're very clear on who you target. And if you're in this department, you're very clear on who you target. Yeah? Some of them are a $16,000 investment. Some of them she knows will be over a $100,000 investment. And her marketing will obviously reflect that. So for many of you, you will have multiple avatars in your business. And for the builders, you would more than likely have multiple avatars in your business. You would have, do you deal with both couples as well as singles? Immediately 2 different avatars. Do you have double income, no children, versus with children? Separate avatars. So you've already got 4 different avatars that you'd need to be looking at marketing to. You'd be very similar, Daniel, in your market. So you need to get really clear on, okay, well, if I'm a one-man band, have you got staff at the moment? So depending on how big your business is, do I need to market to one avatar only right now and attract loads of them? Or can I be everything to all of these people? In small business, it's very difficult for you to have more than one avatar. And that's the trouble. We want to be everything to everyone, keep everyone happy, and we spread ourselves too thin. Stop it. Yeah? Just turn to the other person and almost slap them. Just air slap them. Air slap them. Say, stop it. Only one avatar to start off with. Then you nail that avatar, you can work with your second, your third, your fourth, etc. And that's how your business grows. Yeah? That's how your business grows. And of course, if you've got a large team, then you have the ability to have each of your teams specialising in different avatars. Questions? We're going okay? Fantastic. What are the 3 things your market wants the most? So you know what problem you wrote down. Everyone got their problem clear? What are the 3 things now that your market wants the most? So your ideal avatar is what you think. Now I'm saying, who are the actual people that are coming to you? Very different things. Because you might realise, oh, hang on, the people that are coming to me are not my ideal client. I've got a problem. So at the moment, the people that are coming to you, what are the top 3 things that they come to you for? Just jot those down. Top 3 reasons you have people come to you right now.
You say things just to be quite down a bit.
Yeah.
You mean things, is it physical things or reasons they come?
Yeah, so it could depend. Thank you for clarifying. It depends on if you're in a product business or a service industry. So it would depend if you're in a mix of both. So people would come to you either for your expertise because they need help in something or to buy a particular product that you sell. It might be that they're coming to you to buy a particular product, which is fantastic. So they'll come to you because they want your product, or they might come to someone because they know that they you know, for example, they've got a reputation and they want to work with the best. Presupposing you all are back there. Sorry?
We wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
Steve and Lenny have to be.
Exactly. So I presuppose a lot because of Steve and the people I know he would attract. But I'm sure you're all okay with being called the best in your industry for the time being. So the top three, all got that? All got the top three? So just share that with the person next to you, perhaps someone that you haven't chatted to before, someone who doesn't know your business. One tiny thing. Yes, so the top three reasons that someone comes to you, fairly easy for you already to know that, or do some of you have to go away and do a bit more research? It's okay if you do, don't need to put your hands up. Yeah? Remember, the reason you think they're coming to you could be very different to the reason that they think they're coming to you. So please make sure you survey your market. Yeah? Nothing wrong with you emailing them or sending them something in the mail saying, hey, just checking in, would love to know, and ask them the 3 questions around what is it that they came to you for, what are they loving, what would they like more of, something along those lines, to start to get more of this information. Please ask.
Just on that, it'd be really relevant to continually survey your customer because that way you're keeping abreast of what they need.
Yep.
So
100%. Do you do that? How often do you do that?
6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
usually by phone because it's a lot easier because our guys don't like to do written questionnaires. And it's much more personal too,
Yes.
because you've built that trust that they're happy to do that.
And you can ask them so many more things when you're on the phone, and they're going to tell you
Yes.
way more.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So great way to do that. Pop in a phone call in your automated system every 6 months that you check in with your target market, with your clients. Absolutely fantastic suggestion. Anything else? Any other distinctions that you're noticing when you're starting to really drill down into your clients' minds? Got some of the wheels turning, I can see. Good. That's a good thing. So the second point of having a successful niche, it's obvious that you would want them to have money, but they also need to be ready to spend it. And the thing with spending money is you want them to be able to not only spend the money on you, but more importantly, be investing the money in themselves. So if you can help your market understand the benefit that your service is going to give them, they'll be much, much happier about giving you one of these, or perhaps writing... Who writes cheques anymore? I don't even know, do they? I'm going to say write a cheque. Unless you're going to the solicitors, you probably aren't writing a cheque these days. Cash! It'd be lovely if we went back to cash. So yes, we want them to have money and we want them to be ready to use it, but the distinction there is you've got to help them understand the benefit to them by investing the money. So for example, with the kids playing soccer, yes? So the parents are paying for it, or is the school?
The parents.
Parents, but they're school-run programs?
Sometimes a centre might pay half and the
Yes.
parents pay half. So
Brilliant.
basically up to the centre to decide that.
Perfect. And the centre decides that, but ultimately you get paid by the centre?
Yeah.
Fantastic. And is it pretty easy for you to sell the benefits to them around the reasons why this program would work?
Yeah, basically because they have requirements that they need to include in their program.
Yes.
So obviously sport and being active is one of them.
Yep. So it meets their criteria.
Yep.
Yep. It also gives the kids an alternative, I would imagine.
Yep.
And overall, what's the feedback from the children?
Great, yeah, kids love it. And
They love it.
so Soccer Man is like a superhero to them, like Spider-Man, and
Yes.
you know, so they go home.
Do you wear undies on the outside?
They go,
He doesn't need to. That's awesome.
no, yeah, it's good. So they go home and say, Mum and Dad, Soccer Man said to eat healthy food, or
Yep.
you know, brush your teeth, use your manners,
Brilliant.
stuff like that.
And is the Soccer Man really about soccer? No,
Well,
no.
that's the thing.
No
we make
way
it-
did people... There was one person that said no.
Well, that's the thing. We make it educational, and also just giving children, life skills for the future.
Yeah.
But it's based around soccer.
Yes. So they want soccer. Yes. But in the meantime, we give them everything they need, shovel it in under here. Yeah? Perfect example. And that is why your model will go from strength to strength. It's fantastic, which is awesome. So yes, it is. So you are a superhero without the need for the undies on the outside. The reason you want them to invest in themselves is to understand growth. That's exactly why you're all in this room. You understand to continue to innovate your business, you need to grow. And in order to grow, you need to educate. Whether or not that's through a business program, whether or not that's through working with a mentor or buying a program or a product or whatever it might be, you need to help your market understand the importance of investing in themselves for growth. If we always did what we have always done, we would never have evolved, and we wouldn't be using mobile phones that can do everything and anything in the size of less than a wallet. We'd still be using those big boxes on the wall that we had to dial. Yeah, so if we didn't realise that we could innovate, we'd be doing a lot of the things that we used to do a long time ago that took way too much energy. So we want to make sure we're growing. And is it growing? When I talk about growth, am I talking purely about growing our own wallet? Absolutely not. Am I talking about helping them receive the product? Yes. But I'm also talking about helping them understand how they can pay it forward. So the more you can pay business forward, the more your business will be successful. Everyone knows that? Yeah, you're all in the room because of that reason. Your message needs to be really clear on the fact that you can get your message out to the market. So we've got Soccer Man. We know that he can do some amazing things for children. But if he wasn't allowed to get into the schools, how could he ever get his message out? It'd be pretty tough, I'd imagine, or tougher, because then you're going to have to convince parents to spend more time after hours or on the weekends dragging their kids along to soccer, and they don't even know if they're going to like it or not. Is that fair to say? Whereas at the moment it's part of the program, so the children have to do it, but it's actually now making it enjoyable. So fabulous, again, reason why that business will work is because there's a brilliant partner for him to be able to get his message out. So how do you get your message out? Is it you with a megaphone literally at the end of the street going, here I am, come and buy from me because I'm the best? That used to work years and years ago. Video marketing, joint ventures, recruiting the right people, trust-based selling, and staying out of the Bronx. Jets, I was just trying to think, how do I position Jet? So everything you're learning in this room is helping you refine your message. But of course, like anything, if you get all juiced up today and go tomorrow and spend the day with your families, I'm sure you'll all do, and walk into work on Monday and do nothing, ba-bong. So it really is about you getting your message out there in ways now that are more innovative than ever. And you've already been exposed to many of those now in the last 2 days, and you'll continue to be exposed in those in Steve's program over the course of the next few months and year. But it's really important for you to get your message out to an audience, and that's why joint ventures are fantastic, because that allows you to project your voice so much louder. It takes a lot less energy so that you're not getting worn down and having to make the phone calls or scream out the megaphone. So you've got to be really, really clear on your message. If you went to a marketing event or a networking event and you were to meet someone, would you be really clear, or are you comfortable that you'd be really clear on your message is the question. If you know absolutely, I can get my message out in 30 seconds, then you're sweet. If you stumble, then I know you're probably going to need a little bit more time. So point to self, what is my message? And if I can't just tell someone the minute I shake their hand, then I probably have to refine my message just that little bit more. Business to business being the most profitable niche you could possibly work with. Why would I say that? Anyone?
What it means repeat business.
It sure does. Give the man a hand. Well done, Gary. Now, business to consumer, of course, that's still a successful niche. The difference is when you're a business and you're working with another business, suddenly now you obviously have the business owner in front of you. You have potentially all of his staff in front of you. You have all of his clients, and depending on, because I know you'd all give awesome value, depending on what you're offering, potentially also all of his suppliers. So business to business, hands down, If you can find a way in your current business to sell your product or to work with another business, without a doubt, the most successful way to grow your business and the most profitable of all niches are in business to business. Competition. Now, I'm a huge advocate for competition, and I love the fact that Fiona was talking about in her Q&A that often the partners that you don't think are the best partners are the ones that are your competitors. And in niching, we want competition. If you know there's healthy competition, there's money to be made. Otherwise, Hungry Jack's and McDonald's wouldn't still be here. We wouldn't have KFC, God forbid it's all the junk food, but we wouldn't have KFC or what's their rival? Red Rooster. We wouldn't have Colgate or McLean's. We couldn't have Arnott's, and who competes with Arnott's biscuits? There's probably about 6 or 7, but they're maybe all owned by Arnott's these days anyway. If there's competition in your niche, fantastic. Because what it means is you can find out what your competition is doing, and guess what you get to do? Stand out. Learn what your competitors are doing, learn what they're not doing, and guess what you're going to offer? Everything you know that their market is desperately wanting, but isn't getting. So that's an immediate way that you can stand out in a heartbeat without doing anything else other than researching your competitor. Easy? Easy for some of you. Easy. Character is the one thing that's going to be your easiest thing to stand out, especially in a market where there's quite a lot of competition. We always want to. Humans by nature love variety. We love variety. In fact, it's one of the 6 core needs. If anyone knows about Anthony Robbins, one of the main drivers of our core needs is variety. That's why people don't stay in a job very long unless you have to. Many people are transient for the fact they get bored very quickly. You know yourselves how quickly you get bored. You know how quickly your staff get bored. Every 18 to 24 months, we want to shake things up. So that's why we always know that there'll be an opportunity for variety in the market. Hence, we want competition. Your character is the one thing people are going to buy more. So they don't actually buy the thing a lot of the time. If you're in service, this is not product, if you're in a service-based industry, there could be 2 of you on the street selling exactly the same thing, and one of you is kicking the market's ass and the other one's going home hungry. The only difference is the perceived character. So get really clear on who you are and be comfortable with who you are, and that's what people will be attracted to. They'll actually be attracted to your character. There might be parts of you that you've never shared in a business sense. There might be hobbies that you do outside of work that you've never thought to share with your clients. Now, I get that some of you want to be private in your business space and you want to have your life over there and you want to have your business here. However, know that business is relationships. So the more you can integrate relationships in business, the more you can share who you are behind the closed door, the more you can express your vulnerabilities with your client, the more successful your business will be. Very different thinking to how we did business 10, 15, 20 years ago. Would you agree? Very different. So your character, if for nothing else, in niching you could do differently right now, what parts of your character could you start to share with your clients that would allow you to attract more of your ideal clients? Now, many of you have seen Steve. You've seen him as a businessman. You've seen him as a father. You've seen him as a friend. Is he any different? Is he congruent 100%? Is that attractable in a person? Confidence is the most attractive of all human attributes. I think integrity is right up there, but when you're transparent, oh my God, people just want to do this. Yeah, which is why I would drive around Australia to speak for this man, because he is who he is no matter what. And if you are like that, and if your clients can say that about you, oh, business is made. So character, get really, really clear on your character. Size does matter. I'm not just talking about the bedroom. If you can connect with your audience internationally, much better for you. If you can connect with them outside of Illawarra or Wollongong, much better for you. Obviously, if you've got a particular product that is so niched that you can only deliver it to a small market, you're then going to have to make sure that the cost or the investment is considerably higher. So I don't know if many of you in the room have a product that's worth over 100,000. Yeah? Renovations and those sorts of things are. Yeah? So you need to be aware of your market. How many people can afford that product in this area versus perhaps if my product was a little bit less, would I be able to expand the size of my market? So something for you to think about in your niche as well. Online access. Does everybody in this room have a market that uses the internet? Absolutely. Absolutely. And if they didn't, then I would suggest you'd have to look at how you can innovate your niche in order for them to use the internet. Now, I'm not saying that you can't educate people to get online. Of course you can. However, if you're 70, and I'm generalising, but if you're a 70 and above, you're probably not interested in this Facebook business. Yeah, you're probably not even interested in Skype for that matter because you expect your children to ring you. So one would presume that anybody under, say, 60 at least understands the internet, but not everybody is using it. In fact, 2 in 3 adults are actually using the internet and are on Facebook. So if you're not already on Facebook, or at least have a Facebook fan page, get that up straight away. Get that up straight away. And with children, I mean, gosh, they know the internet better than their parents. So if Soccer Man's got, which I'm sure you have, an amazing profile online, that just would kill it. Yeah? In fact, some of the best industries at the moment are for young children between the age of 9 and sort of 14 because they're on the internet all the time. So have to be online. Have to be online. So putting it all together, the 9 steps to recap, there has to be a problem. They have to have an income. We know they need to want to invest in themselves and also look at growth in their business. We want to make sure we can reach them. A, that we're clear on our message, and B, that we can get our message out to them. Okay, we need to be able to get our message out to them. If you can't get your message out to them right now, who else can? Look for a joint venture partner that can get your message out. Business to business, the most profitable. Is there anyone else in that area? So competitors. Are there competitors making money? If so, fantastic, because then your niche will be successful. How can you stand out? What's your character? The size of the audience is extremely important. And the last one there, it has to include the internet. Okay? Your business cannot survive without the internet. I know it's a bold statement, but with where we're going right now, you have to be online and your clients have to be online looking for you. Otherwise, you're really just not able to compete. So what to do next? First one, go with what you know. Many of you in this room already have got some really great strategies that are working, which is fantastic. Go with that, but tweak it. So you don't have to do anything revolutionary. You don't have to do anything completely new. You don't have to rip your business up in pieces and think, oh my God, I'm devastated because the niche woman said that I don't have a business. No, she didn't. Although I have had clients in tears in my room, but no, that's no one in this room. So go with what you know, absolutely. If you've got an expertise, use it. And I know many of you have fallen into business for whatever reason, but you might not be doing what you're passionate about. If you've got an area of expertise, look at how you can use that in your business. Because if you can do that, then you really are not ever working another day in your life because you're doing what you love. So please look at how you can utilise what you already do and love. Consider a hobby as well. So for some of you, if business right now is looking like it's getting a little bit stale, what's a hobby that you love that you could integrate into your business? Is it something like golf? I'll say golf. I love golf. Do you enjoy playing golf? Is there a way that you could incorporate a golf once a month with your clients to encourage some relationship building? Some of you might like car racing. So if you like car racing, is there a way that you could integrate that into your business? Whatever your hobbies are that you love, that's a really good way of making sure that you're starting to create more of that character in your business and letting people in. For example, Tony and I love hiking, as I've shared with you, and camping. We've recently started doing hikes. Now, I needed to niche myself a little smarter because I decided to choose a friend and her 9-year-old son to go on a 10-kilometre hike. 5 kilometres up, she said, I've had enough. And I said, well, regardless, if we go back, it's 5 kilometres anyway, or we can keep going and it's still going to be 10. So we've done 5. Either way, we're still going to end up doing 10. She said, no, we've had enough. So we had to go back down the way we'd already been. Needless to say, I was a little bit smarter the next day, and we chose another friend to go hiking with, and we set some very clear ground rules. I was much clearer on the avatar, and we did the 10K walk. Unbeknownst to us, she got to the end of it and she said, "That was amazing." And I thought, fantastic, she really appreciated it. I saw her a week later, she goes, "I'm still sore from that bloody hike." But she was so caught up in the fact that we were loving what we were doing, that we were showing her the tree. She's a South American, so she was, in the middle of nature in Australia, loving, so caught up in the emotional experience. She didn't even think about the pain that she was currently exhibiting, which was quite clear on my face, but I kept going. And at the end of it, she'd had the most amazing experience. Now, how can you make that hiking story your business? How can you bring the clients along regardless and not even have them realise what they've gone through until they get the other end and go, "Oh, that was amazing." So much so that because we love it, I'll be running my business retreats hiking. Why wouldn't I? Let's go on a 10K hike, let's talk business, and by the time we get down the end, you're going to feel fantastic. We'll cook some food around the campfire, you're out in nature, and we've just come up with who knows how many million business ideas. Why wouldn't I do what I love doing in my business? How can you do the same? And the last one is please, please, please research the gap in the market. Please. Research the gap, find it, and I'm going to say exploit it, because that's a healthy word. If you can find the one area in the market that hasn't been met, that your competitor doesn't know about, that your target market is gagging for, and you can offer it to them on a silver plate, fantastic. So make sure you do that as well. So some of the best business ideas have come up by finding a gap in the market. We don't really have time to go into them, but I'm sure you all know the Zappos story, Zappos, Spandex, Boost Juice, Roses Only. All of those are niche areas. Some of them came out by mistake, purely because they were looking for a solution. Others were very strategic about how they've done it. Whatever works for your business, make sure you are niching and that you are known as the best, the only, or the first in the market, because that's what's really going to get your business flying. So that's what I would recommend doing next. To date or to marry your niche, it's really going to depend on you. Many of you are past the first year of business anyway, so that's great. But if ever you're speaking to anyone and giving them advice on business, if they're 90 days in and it's really tough, they need to make the decision as to whether or not they're going to date their niche and just hang out casually, or whether or not they need to marry it and commit to it for a lifetime. Now, whether or not you choose to do one or the other, it depends on you. But just know you don't have to commit to a niche in the early days. So if you are saying to a friend or a family member who's thinking about getting into business, tell them to try it for 90 days. If it's not working, they need to stop before they spend the next 18 months getting hurt and losing all their money. Can you promise to do that for me? Yes? I promise, Angelina. Hands up to tell family or friends, yes, not to do all their money. That's it from me. Steve Jobs is a champion, as we know. He says if you haven't already found it, don't settle, keep looking. And I'm sure all of you understand the importance of innovating and at least have a bit more of an idea around niching. Cool. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Guys, yeah.
Come on down.
How good was that?
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Rockstar. Wow, Angelina, that was awesome. Very cool. Awesome. I love niching.
You
have
love
a seat,
niching.
Have a seat, have
If
a
you didn't
seat.
already, you do now.
I didn't. Yeah, that's exactly right.
Awesome.
Who enjoyed that, guys? Give me a show of hands who enjoyed that. I love niching.
Oh, yeah. Love niching.
I love niching. The reason I love it so much is because I know the impact that it had on my business.
Yes.
When I identified our avatar.
Yes.
Now, I sort of checked out you guys with Avatar. And everybody went, Avatar, green man, tall, runs through the bush, jumps into the water sort of thing.
Good movie too, by the way.
Good movie, great movie.
Really good movie.
But that avatar and getting so specific on who your target market is absolutely key. How old are they? What do they look like?
Yeah.
What do they buy? Where do they go? Because when you know who they are,
Yeah.
you can talk to them. Otherwise, you're going to talk to everybody. So you're going wide and thin instead of narrow and long. So it's cool. I love it. Well done. Great job.
You're welcome.
So, questions for Angelina
We
on
answered them all.
niching. Did we cover everything? Did we really? there was not one question out there from you guys about the target market, or a little bit, is anybody looking for more clarity on how to identify their avatar? Stop just looking at me. Stop it.
Yeah, I'll
Here we go, Gary.
I'm a chartered accountant with accounting practice.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
We love you. We all need you.
And we've been in business quite a long time and reasonably successful, but I'd say that we don't. We're quite generous.
Yes.
And whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm happy to take sort of feedback from the audience.
Yes.
About whether we should have a real niche.
Yeah, great question. So the difference, I guess, is that most accountants do see themselves as generalists. So how could you carve out your own market? And a recommendation I've made to a few people who are in a similar situation is to offer their clients things like this. Come along and do a business building day once every 3 months. You can have a free session with my business coach to get some strategic planning. And I don't know if you're already aligned with some planners or business coaches, you probably are, but look at what you can do that's different. There are very few accountants who would put on a day like this for their clients, and yet we're talking high-rolling clients. Yeah, so you know everything about their business. Why wouldn't you do that for them? Why wouldn't you? And the other thing too is, I mean, I'm not sure how personable you are with your clients, but some accountants you know nothing about. You know, they are literally just your client that you see, and they do the numbers, and they know everything about me and my business, but I know nothing about them. So some social events where they actually get to know you. Yes, they already trust you. Do they like you or not? Yes. Whereas if you know your accountant, you trust your accountant, and you feel like he or she is very personable, not only will you continue to and be comfortable to continue to do business, you'll refer a lot more people to them. So that's how you'll continue to grow your business, to differentiate. So, yes.
Jeremy is my accountant and I
There you go.
There's your testimonial.
You
Perfect.
could-
we get that on video,
Yeah,
please.
get that on video. You could decide that you're only going to work with a particular market. You could say, look, I'm only going to work with service-based industries, or I'm only going to work with companies that are 5 million plus. I mean, you could absolutely decide to niche in that particular way. You've got to make the decision as to whether or not that's right for you, and what the majority of your clients already are. If there is, do some market research on your own client database.
There's probably an 80-20 rule in there somewhere.
Yeah, that
of
would be.
the majority of your customers are one service-related
Would
business or product-related business. Possibly.
Find your best client, the absolute client you would love to have 100 of, and do everything in order to attract more of them, is what I would say. Yeah.
And what Angelina said was really poignant when she said, on the back of that decision comes research.
Yeah.
Because if your target market is astronauts, it's going to get real difficult. So when you do that market research on the back end of that, after you've made that decision, you realise that actually the pool isn't that big, that that niche is not going to quite work so much. Yeah. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Janelle.
Great question, though. Thank you, Gary. Good question.
Anybody else, guys?
I would like to add a few
Yes.
things.
Please.
Angelina, today you touch on building the character.
Yes.
And you also touch on the internet.
Yes.
And in fact, that is my world and my expertise, and I can tell you one thing.
Yes.
That this is what I fix for my clients when they said, how come my website doesn't work?
Yes.
And I look at it, some of them worry that, the search engine optimization doesn't work for them, this and that. But it's not the first thing I look at. The first thing I look at is how well they present themselves in the About Us section.
Yeah.
And then if there's any fixing, I will fix that phase first and page first, and I guarantee that it make a change.
Yes.
And it reconnect us with what I think one of the speakers yesterday talked about is the credibility.
Yes.
So if you can't build rapport and credibility online, that phone call will never come through, and that form, people won't fill it in. If there's no call for action, you will never have that request. So building rapport and things like that online is so important, and sprinkle around call for action. So what you mentioned today, it's really important that you in fact have to share what you're passionate about and also who you are behind this business. I do have some clients at first when they come in and they say, I don't want to put my address on there. I don't want to put my phone number. And I thought the website would work for me. And I say, hang on, if you want people to buy from you, at least they know that they can keep in touch with you. So it sums up what you mentioned there. And I do, suggest the people in the room that, how you build your character, build it online, offline, just look at your About Us.
Yeah, and I think we've learned a lot about different ways to do that throughout different platforms, whether it be through video marketing, exposing more of ourselves, not in that way, but obviously exposing more of ourselves through video. Go on.
Yeah, and I was going to say Steve's point earlier when he was talking about the conversion online with video, the reason is because physiology is 55% of the message. So if you can watch a video about someone, you'll instantly decide if you like them and you want to do business with them or not. It's 7 seconds. First impression, 7 seconds. Whereas how much you're going to read in order to decide first impression if you like that person or not. So a video is instantaneous, which is why, without a doubt, you would want a video on your website. It goes without saying.
We're sort of transcending across different things, aren't we? And then what we want to do is we want to find someone who we can get a strategic alliance with.
Yes.
Because you know what? Today's been so great because we've got everything is tied in really nicely. When we've spoken about niching, so you identify what your niche is and become really specific.
Yep.
We talk about then how we're going to get that to market, or maybe video is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
And once we build a big enough profile within that niche and build our profile as an expert, maybe then we're ready to go out to market to align ourselves with other companies or suppliers or competitors, which we can then promote our business even more.
Yes. And to Fiona's point about the small business syndrome, so many businesses suffer from that. So many. And because exactly as Steve said, they wait until they feel that they're credible in the market. Maybe they've got 10 or 15 or 30 years experience that they've actually forgotten about. So often you'll find that you really already do know quite a lot about an industry. You probably just haven't given yourself the credit. And that's what's stopping you from going to speak to someone about a joint venture or something along those lines. So
Yeah, so back yourselves.
Yes.
Absolutely. So is everyone clear on their niche? Hands in the air. Niche. Everybody got it? Does anybody need
some ideas?
Help? Well, we've got Angelina here.
Yes.
Yeah? Jason?
Ask another
Just need
question.
help in general? All right. Yeah, fine.
Yeah, it's a train wreck.
Yeah.